We're going to make this 10 by 10 by 3/4. Alright, very first thing we're going to do is we're going to... There we go. That looks better. Okay. Probably have an issue right in here on the machining. Maybe not. Okay. We know we're going to add in there. So, what we do, we've got our DXF. The very first thing we want to do is start building our base and building from the shallowest point out. So I go to modeling. I know this is going to be a piece all unto itself. So we're going to go over here to the left side. We're going to create. Let's see. We're going to round that. I might have to play around with this a minute. Okay. Let's take that up a little bit more. Okay. Alright, I don't like that. So we're going to go back to drawing. We're going to delete that component. We're now going to make a copy of this. Move it. Okay. Now we're going to snip that. And we basically just made a mask. Okay, so now we'll go into modeling, create component, apply. Okay. There. Alright, let's take that angle down a little. What I'm trying to do is get a nice, smooth, flowing curve. That looks good. We're going to shrink our base height down. Bring that up a little bit. Okay. And what that gives me is that little straight edge right around there. Let's bring this angle down a little bit more. That looks really heavy. Right. Okay. And what I was doing there is I'm holding the left key and I'm rotating around just to kind of see what bevel I'm getting. Just keep playing around with it till you get something you're happy with. Okay, so right now that looks pretty good. My high point's right here in the center. Basically what it does is it takes everywhere that you have highlighted and makes the center of that the highest point. So if we want to do something a little bit more, all we have to do is strike a line down this and then do a union, and we can do a union difference, and we can play around with the way that the rounds actually interact. For me, what I was going to do at first was make this a flat. I was actually going to choose this section here, and that basically just lifts this, and then I was going to do an offset of double the radius that I wanted, and then I was going to do a profile curve and then join the two of them together. But I didn't actually need to do that. So all of that looks good so far. So I'm actually going to I've got a pen and paper here. I'm going to write down my base height so I know what I'm starting with and what I have to add on to my wanted heights. Okay. So now let's start building the rest of the jar. We're going to name this jar base. Apply. We're going to start a new component. We're going to go here, here, here. We're going to Control V or Control C, Control V. Move that off out of the way. Close this, go into drawing. We're going to clip this masking. All right. Okay. All right, now we're clipping that. Let's clip this top section. Okay. We're gonna join this as one closed vector. All right, now let's make our little brim and we'll move it into place. So we'll go down to Model, Create Component. We want this to have a nice rounded feel to it, so we're going to do that. We're going to drop this down. We want it to be a little proud of the surface. Okay. Let's see. That might be a little too much. So we'll move this into position here. Okay. Now we'll go 3D. Okay, we're gonna drop our height down 2.25. We're gonna take our angle down a little bit stronger there. A little more strong, a little stronger. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay, so we've got a nice rim there that you know the rim sits out away from the neck. All right. We've got a pretty good shape on the jar itself. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so let's take that down to 45. Okay, that looks good. I like that. Alright, we're gonna rename this. Lid bottom ring. Apply. Start new component. Okay. So now we want to create our lid. So let's see. We're going to select those two. We're going to make a copy. Move that copy off to the side. We're going to delete that. Okay. As we go through this, you want to delete the stuff that you're not using. It's actually really important. However, we want to select that and that and that. And it's just a matter of, as you build this out, what you're actually looking for. So we need to clip this. Okay. Let's go to model, create component. That we're just going to want a flat design on. And let's see here. Let's go 3D on this. Do this, take that down like that. Let's limit this to that. Okay. There we go. That smooths that out. Now we want to rename it. Lid side. Apply. Okay. What did I do here? Okay, there. that's that. Now we need to do the little divot in. So we'll keep that because I'm going to do something to that in just a second. We're going to create a flat base. Okay. The top. Apply that. Okay. So we're looking good. We've got our jar 3D'd already. So we've got our lid. We can actually take these parts off and see them just by themselves, like so. We can go into 2D. Now we're going to do a little bit, we're going to have a little bit of fun here. And we're going to move this vector off. And we're going to zoom in, and we're going to copy it and pull it down. And then we are going to node edit. Alright. Move that down. Alright. Alright. Now go into node edit. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's have to give me a second. I keep trying to do stuff from my plasma cutting software and it won't let me. All right, let's explode that. And all right, now we take this and we're going to pull it up this way. And we're going to pull that right into there. Okay. Alright, now we will trim that. Whoa, hello. Okay. And what I'm doing right now apparently is messing everything up. All right. Let's go into Node Edit. All right. There. All right, we're going to limit our nodes on this. All right, good. Okay. And we're just copying and pasting 3 more of them. Okay. Let's see here. All right. All right. So we are in process here of actually taking this and revising what is actually happening. And this will make sense here shortly as to why I'm taking some time to do this. There are easier ways to do it, but I work in umpteen odd freaking softwares, and sometimes it's just easier for me to do it the way that I know how, rather than looking it all up. Okay. So we can delete that. Now we'll go through and we'll actually trim this, trim this, trim this. And what we're left with is this right here. Tell you what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna leave that top, that way we know screw it. Let's delete that top. Okay. We're gonna join these. They're closed vectors. We're now going to join them. We're gonna go in 3D view. We're gonna go to model. We're gonna create components. We're gonna go there and we're gonna sync that in. Okay, so let's take this right in there. 3D view. Do we want to sync that in a little more? We can really apply it in. That looks good there. So lid, side rings. Okay, we'll apply, start a new component. Guess what? We have our jar. So now we can actually take our different pieces of the jar and create our own layers. Okay, so I actually won't need that anymore, won't need that anymore, won't need that outline anymore, and don't need that vector outline anymore. Okay, cool. Let's control all. And we're going to bake all these into one component. So now, when we look at that, that looks pretty darn good. I don't mind the look of that at all. I might ought to have come here and done a little bit different. Played around with that a little bit, but all in all, it's good. We're good. Okay. Let's see here. Alright. Let's merge all visible layers. Okay. We no longer have a vector for the outside of the jar, and that's alright. We don't need it at this point. But now we're actually just going to go in and make components out of each of the letters. And you can play around with them, or you can do them all in one shot. We'll do it all in one shot on this one. So we're going to create a vector and let's bubble the height up on this. And we can make that its own component, or we can raise it up off the surface if we want. I don't want to do that. I want to make it its own component so it sits on the surface and arcs around. We can make that a little proud. That actually doesn't look bad. Add a little roundness to it. Let's really make that round. There we go. Now we want to take that height back down a little bit. See, there we go. Okay, so we're at 0.06. I'll write that down. We're going to do the same thing here. And we're going to go 0.06 height, 39.6 bubble. Actually, we might do a flat on that. All right, let's apply, create component, lower home, apply, start the new component. Let's play around with the suite and give it a little bit of a different look. Okay. Let's play around with the limit. Let's do no limit and pull that down a little bit. So what I did was I changed over to the pyramid profile and playing around with it based off of the center line. So it's going to change right here. That's a little odd looking. I don't like that. It's more pronounced. It's definitely more pronounced. Let's take that base height down a little bit more than the home. So let's go 0.7. We'll keep it as its own component. I don't know that I'm feeling that right there. I don't want to do it that style. Let's limit that, and we'll take the limit height up. Okay, there we go. There, that smooths that out some. That'll open that up. Okay, let's try 4.6. Let's try 4.7. You can see we're starting to get some deviation in that W. That's what I want to get away from. But all in all, that looks like a really good setup. Okay. Sweet. Apply. Close. Okay, so now all these components we can get rid of. And start taking our whole assembly a little bit more serious. Okay. Alright, let's play around with this home a little bit. We're going to create a component from it. We are going to raise that up to 0.6. And we're going to make that a little more pronounced. And drop that down a little. No height. All right. Now we're going to actually name that. Top home. Apply. Okay. And we created our 3D model. Has a nice round to it. We're not seeing anything off of there. So that looks really good. All right, let's bake this all into one model. Let's take a look. There we go. That is our 3D model, all designed. I think I kind of feel like I want to do something with that, but I'm not quite sure yet. Okay, so now let's generate some G-code for the Xcarve or any of the Gerbil based systems based off of this model. Okay, so now we can go back to drawing. Actually, let's go to model. We're going to create a vector boundary, and that gives us this boundary here. So now we can go over here. We'll rough this out with, oh, what do we want to rough that out with? All these are correct. So the gap above the material, if I was cutting this out of some rough cut, I would actually bury this down in the material a little bit like that. And what that'll do is surface the whole top and then cut that for me. But let's say I got some finished pine from Lowe's. Okay, we're gonna want to do a quick and dirty rough. So we're going to go to selected boundary, machining allowance. We won't do any machining allowance. We'll do a boundary offset of positive, let's say 0.2, quarter inch 2 flute hard wood end mill. We're loading up the tool profile right now. That way you could see it. Oh, let's see. 2 flute hardwood. There you go. There's my numbers. All right. We are going to raster, and we'll do it along the X or Y axis. And we'll calculate. Oh, let's calculate. All right. see what we got. Okay. So this is telling me I forgot something, and I know exactly what I forgot. Just by doing that, we can actually come over here. We can create a zero plane. Okay. And now we can actually play around with the zero plane and where we're applying everything. And that's cutting down in quite a bit just because the height of my model is lower in the material. We'll select a tapered ball nose, and this is a really fine detail ball nose. Probably could get away with a 1/4 inch ball nose and speed this up quite a bit. But let's see what kind of finish we're gonna see with this around the letters, because we have that E with the little curly Q on it that is gonna need some real fine detail, and that curly Q on the H is probably gonna need it too. This is rendering pretty quick for you guys using laptops or older machines, older computer machines. You're probably not going to render this fast. I have a Ryzen 3rd Gen 3700 processor with an RX 580 graphics card. All in all, the machine that I have, I spent about $800 on it, and it'll be good to go for years to come, and it's able to be changed out as long as they don't change any of their motherboard connections, their motherboard sockets. Alright, so alright, I like that. And one thing on my finish, I did a raster pass, but I did it at 45 degrees. Some people say if you rough raster in Y, do your finish pass in X. I like the 45 degree movement. It just it hides a lot of stuff, so I don't have to do as much work. And there you go, people. That's what it looks like, right? But we want to take it a step further. We're not happy with that. We can't be happy with that. So now I'm going to go back to the 2D view, and we're going to give it a profile. We're going to cut 20 thousandths below. We're going to use an eighth inch 2 flute upcut. We're going to cut on the outside of it. We'll add 4 tabs to hold it in. Add tabs. That actually doesn't look bad. Let's go here. Let's take that down into here. Take that up into there. Move that over here. Okay, that looks good. We don't need a separate last pass. We don't need to ramp in. We can do a lead in that basically just does it starts out in here and then ramps itself in. 2-inch radius, you know, a 3/4 radius works for most of the time. let's calculate that. So my lead in will start off of my material, and then it'll ramp in, it'll come here, ramp around all that, and clean up that edge. And then we'll just have to nip these. That actually doesn't look bad at all. I don't think I'd play around too much with that code. Alright. So we've got that. Let's close it. We'll generate some toolpath. Save. We'll go to Gerbil. We'll save that. 3D roughing. We'll save that. And we'll save that. Okay. We'll save this project, save as. .3D, save.